Good afternoon. Great day for Bison football and for a number of student athletes and their families. We'll go through each guy and talk about them a little bit, but just kind of give you a little bit of background. This was kind of uncharted territory for all of us in college athletics and football, and we knew this was potentially coming down last January for sure when we went to a convention and they talked about it, and so we came back, and before we went on the road for that month of January, we kind of put a plan together based on the 2018 class, and we knew it was going to be a lot of detailing things out and preparation, and I think our staff and Coach Jacobs did a phenomenal job once we got into February and March and figured this was going to happen, and then in April, I think, is when it finally came down that they were going to do a signing period early. We really detailed a lot of things to say, how are we going to get more people on campus throughout the spring? How are we going to get more people on campus throughout the summer, not only at our camp, but in general, to get more exposure to the families, to NDSU? And that's a credit to Coach Jacobs and the coaches that we were able to get so many guys to visit our place during the spring and the summer. And then obviously our camps are phenomenal and did a great job of identifying some talented kids and obviously getting a number of those commitments and then keeping them all through the fall. Credit to those young men for sticking with us and wanting to be a part of the Bison family and communicating with each other. And obviously today we end up signing 24 student athletes. So we'll start with the state of North Dakota, where we have 8 student athletes joining us. Dylan Evans from Williston High School. He came to our camp, 6'3", 243. He's a defensive lineman. He's a 3-year starter under Coach Mock, a 2-time All-State performer, and competes in 3-sport athlete, wrestling, and track and field. Jaden Ewing, 6'3", 231, a defensive lineman, tight end from Watford City. Another guy that came to our camp, 3-year starter for Coach Johnsrud, 2-time All-State and school record holder for sacks, and 3-sport athlete as well. And that's the other thing that you'll hear us talking about is the multi-athletes that are so important for our system. Ben Hogarth from Oak Grove. We're excited about Ben. Another guy that came to camp, running back, linebacker, 4-year starter and team captain for Coach Whitney, 3-time All-Region, 2-time All-State, and 3-sport athlete with basketball and track and field. Jake Kava from Shanley, another guy that came to camp. He's 6'2", 210-pound linebacker, tight end. Played for Coach Oxendahl and Coach Mattern, 3-time All-Conference and All-State player, and competes in basketball and track and field as well. Jake Kubas, we're excited to get another Kubas. One of Monty's boys coming, 6'3", 254 from Dickinson from Trinity High School. Another guy that came to camp, 3-year letter winner, 2-year starter, 2-time captain for Coach Oderman, all-conference, all-state performer, also competes in basketball and track and field. Bartholomew Ogbu, 6'3", 220 pounds from Bismarck Shiloh Christian High School. And Bartholomew came to camp. Barty did a great job at our camp. We were excited. What an infectious personality. Loved being around him. 2-year starter and captain for Coach Barker. 2-time All-State and lineman of the year as a senior. 4-sport athlete in basketball, track and field, and baseball. Trey Steckler from Mandan High School. Another guy that was a camp guy for us. 6'3", 210-pound tight end, a 3-year starter for Coach Sheldon, 3-time All-Conference and All-State tight end, 3-sport athlete, competes in basketball and track and field. Last North Dakota guy, Mark Stump, MJ's brother, 6'2", 185-pound linebacker from Bismarck, Bismarck High School, came to camp, 2-year starter for Coach Gibby, over Coach Gibson over at Bismarck, captain and All-Conference performer as a senior, competes in track and field. Go to the state of Minnesota, where we signed 6 student athletes. James Kaiser, 5'11", 190-pound safety from St. Cloud, Minnesota, St. Cloud Tech High School, camp kid. 4-year letterman, 3-year starter for Coach Martag at St. Cloud Tech. Also coached over there by my good friend Wayne Schlechter, who's meant a lot to the Bison football program. James, 3-time All-Conference player, 2-time All-Section, and 3-sport athlete, competes in basketball and track and field. Mitch Cardis, 6 foot, 195-pound linebacker, running back from Albertville, St. Michael Albertville High School. Camp guy, did a phenomenal job at our camp. 4-year starter, 4 conference championship teams, and played for former NDSU star Jared Essler. Coach Essler does a great job over there. He was all Metro running back and safety, and as a junior and MVP of the Minnesota State Championship game. 3-sport athlete. Mitch had an injury halfway through the season and was having as good a season as anybody in the state of Minnesota. And so we're thrilled to have Mitch, and I know his rehab's going exceptionally well. Trey Lance, 6'3", 215-pound quarterback from Marshall, Minnesota, Marshall High School. Another guy that came to camp, did a great job at our camp. 3-year starter and team captain under Coach Terry Ballman. Coach Ballman is a Waterloo, Iowa native that knows Coach Mess, Coach Ince, and myself really well. 3-time All-District performer, 2017 Minnesota All-State team. Also plays basketball. Leader in his area of fellowship Christian athletes in his town, and really tremendous football player and a great young man. Samuel Moore, 6'5", 237-pound defensive lineman from Verndale High School in Verndale, Minnesota. Came to camp, did a phenomenal job at our camp. 3-year starter for Coach Malin. 2-time All-Conference and All-State as a senior. He'll also compete in track and field and throw for us here at the Bison. And Samuel's a really talented guy that has so much in front of him with his ability to grow. Joe Schreiber, 6'3", 277-pound offensive lineman from Chanhassen. He went to Eden Prairie High School, which Eden Prairie is a dominant performer in the cities in the state of Minnesota, won another state championship this year. Joe did a great job for us at camp. 3-year letter winner, 2-year starter for Coach Grant. Coach Grant's legendary in the state of Minnesota. We're so excited to have Joe here from Eden Prairie. Joe was all-conference, all-district, all-metro first team, and part of 13-0 state championship team in 2017. Phoenix Sproles, 5'11", 185-pound wide receiver from New Hope, Minnesota, Robbinsdale Cooper High School. Camp guy as well, did a great job at our camp. 4-year letter winner, 3-year starter for Coach Howard. We've got a ton of respect for Coach Howard, and he's been good friends of our program. 2-time All-Conference and Special Teams Player of the Year, selected to play in the Minnesota All-Star Game. Also competes in basketball, and I know his sister is a student here at NDSU. State of Iowa, we have 2 guys signed from the state of Iowa. Sabian Clark from Bishop Heelan High School in Sioux City. Sabian did a great job at our camp as well. He was running back, linebacker, 4-year starter and team captain for Coach Steffen. 2-time All-State, 2-time All-Conference performer. Also competes in soccer, and excited about Sabian. Brian Nohava, 6'4", 275-pound offensive lineman, went to Galen Catholic High School in Lamars, Iowa, and came to our camp, did a great job at our camp. 3-year starter for Coach Schindler. 2-time All-District, 2-time All-State, just got done competing in the Blue-Gray All-American Bowl, and also is a letter winner in basketball. State of Wisconsin, we have 3 student athletes from Wisconsin. Jackson Enns, 6 foot, 181-pound safety from Walworth, Wisconsin, Bigfoot High School. He's a guy that came to our camp. Jackson did a great job. He's a 3-year starter and team captain for his father. Coach Enns does a great job with that program, and we're excited to have his son come and play for the Bison. 3-time All-Conference selection as a utility player, accounted for over 5,700 all-purpose yards during his career. 3-sport athlete, competes in basketball and track and field. Another one that had a season-ending injury that cut his season a little bit short, or he could have had about 7,000 all-purpose yards. He's a special player. Hunter Lupke, 6'1", 225-pound tight end fullback from Spencer, Wisconsin. Spencer, Columbus Catholic High School. Did a great job coming to our camp and performing. 4-year starter, 2-year captain for Coach Gorst. 3-time All-Conference running back and player of the year in 2015 and 17. 5-sport athlete, excellent wrestler, basketball player, track and field, and baseball. DJ Stewart, 6 foot, 170-pound athlete, running back, defensive back, wide receiver, does it all for Kimberly High School in Kimberly, Wisconsin, that just keeps winning state championship after state championship. DJ's 3-year letter winner, 2-year starter and team captain for Coach Steve Jones. Tremendous amount of respect for Coach Jones. Has won 4 straight state championships and 70 straight games at Kimberly. Logan McCormick and a guy named Hegel came from Kimberly. 2-time All-Conference and All-State performer. DJ was Wisconsin Offensive Gatorade Player of the Year. That's a pretty special award. How good the football is in Wisconsin. He was the Gatorade Player of the Year on offense. Also competes in track and field. Two athletes from state of Illinois. Destin Talbert, 5'11", 175-pound wide receiver DB from Hinsdale South High School. 3-year starter for Coach Barry, two-time all-conference and conference MVP and first-team all-area. Will do everything. Can play DB, could play wide receiver, could play running back. Really special athlete. Also participates in basketball. And really good student as well. All-state academically as a senior. Brendan Cook from Libertyville High School, Libertyville, Illinois. Did a great job coming to our camp. 6'4", 235-pound guy that we know is going to grow into a really special 3 technique for us. Came and did a really good job for Coach Gazer at camp. 2-year starter for Coach Jones. Was all conference player as a senior. Also competes in volleyball and basketball. One student athlete from the state of Florida. Coach Austin does a great job for us down in Florida. Tony Pierce, 6'2", 220-pound defensive end from Winter Haven, Florida. Auburndale High School, came to camp. Tony did a really nice job for us at camp. We were excited about him. He's a great edge rusher and a really powerful guy. 3-year letter winner, 2-year starter and team captain for Coach Morse. 2-time all-conference, 2-time all-state. He also competes in track and field. State of Kansas, one student athlete from the state of Kansas. Jaden Price, 6 foot, 178-pound defensive back, Derby, Kansas, Mulvane High School. Came to camp with his coach, who knew Coach Hedberg real well, but everybody knows Randy, and did a phenomenal job at our camp. Really special athlete. He was a great quarterback for Mulvane this year. Special athlete that we could play him in a lot of different positions. Right now we have him earmarked as a defensive back, but his versatility gives us a lot of freedom there. 3-year starter and team captain for Coach Fenwald. 2-time All-League and League MVP, and is also invited to play in the Blue-Gray All-American Bowl. One student athlete from the state of Missouri, Jalen Sundell, 6'5", 265 offensive lineman from Maryville High School, Maryville, Missouri. Really good high school program. Came up and participated for Coach Riles at our camp. Did a really nice job. 4-year letter winner for Coach Webb. 2-time All-Conference, All-District, and All-State. 3A Offensive Player of the Year in Missouri, and we don't know if they've ever had an Offensive Player of the Year in Missouri that's been a lineman. And so Jalen was obviously a really impactful guy for his team in that region. Also competes in basketball. So that's the list that we have right now, and we're excited about those guys. Like I said, this was different for us to do this on December 20th in between. We practiced yesterday. A bunch of coaches doing all of our game planning and stuff right now. Took a break this morning to visit with all these young men that sent their letter of intent in. Now we're back to the grind of preparing for the next opponent. And obviously we still have some work to do in January when we're able to get back out on the road after the national championship game. So excited about the early signing period, and we'll open up for questions.
How do you believe this experience went now that it's over and done with and had a chance to see what you got?
Well, after today, I felt like it was, we had a home run today, Dom. We really did. Not without great effort by a lot of people and a lot of sacrifice. That's the one thing that I noticed more so this year with the signing date moved up. Typically from our camp ending on June 23rd until the end of July, it's pretty free and clear for coaches. Other than that 4th of July weekend, I think coaches were in all the time, or one of us was around, usually myself and another assistant, all the time. And so that's where I think it consumes so much of the time, and that's where I don't know where this is going to go, because the month of August is still going to be dead from what we understand unless you play a football game the last weekend. So you have to visit guys in June and July. You just have to in order to get them on your campus before they start their football season. So all that being said, as hard as it was, I think this summer for us as coaches, obviously as rewarding as it was, because, we're going into a period of January where we're not looking for many guys, and we're just continuing to evaluate and maybe move ahead a little bit on juniors.
A lot of classes, you bring in plenty of guys from 5'10" to 6 foot, 170 to 185 pounds. How does that decision-making go? This guy's going to play corner. This is free safety. This is wide receiver. I mean, how you get these great athletes in, how do you go through the classification?
Well, some of them, we have earmarked. Phoenix Pro is a great example. We plan on Phoenix playing wide receiver for us, and then there's some other guys as well that we plan. We plan on James Kaiser being a defensive back. But a number of guys, it takes us that month of August to kind of say, okay, where do you fit? Where's the best spot for you? Or maybe it takes us a year. Maybe it's a Marquise Bridges situation where it takes us a year and a half where we decide, boy, he can be a really special player in our system. That's the thing you don't know is how do they fit our system offensively and defensively, and where can we enhance their skill set at? And so we're just excited to get that many athletes that a couple things. Makes you so much better on special teams and then creates competition wherever you need that based on injuries.
How does a guy become player of the year as an offensive lineman?
Dominates every snap that he was in there, and that's the thing that you watch him on film. And for starters, it's traditionally a great program at Maryville. They've won a lot of championships there, and I just think when you flip the film on, and every game he's the best player on the field, and every coach notices that, and I'm assuming it's done mostly by coaches that vote on that said, wow, why wouldn't we give it to this kid? He's not carrying the ball or anything like that, but he's dominating in every game and by far is the best player on the field.
When you look at your class, what was the area of biggest need that you felt like you guys addressed in this signing?
Alex, we're always taking everything. That's the one thing that you don't typically say, well, this year we have to go get all these linemen and all the – I just think us having a broad range of hitting every position – was so critical. I think we talked about just the athletes that can play multiple spots in the skill position area is good. You can never have enough offense and defensive linemen here. We're figuring that out, and I hope other people don't figure it out. That if you can rotate 8, 9, 10 defensive linemen throughout a season, it's going to make you that much better come into a playoff run. But those are positions we're always going to get. Offense and defensive linemen, we're always trying to get skill guys. And then obviously you always want to try to find a quarterback. And every year we're going to try to find one. And we were fortunate this year with Trey that he was the guy that we earmarked as the first guy that we offered and the first guy that we wanted early in the process, and we're able to get him in the end.
Walk-on kids, how do you sell the dream of playing, talking about the local kids and Fargo kids?
Yeah, you absolutely. Well, they grew up wanting to be Bison. They grew up seeing, because of all the great coverage we have here, they grew up watching it on TV, hearing about it on the news. They want to be a part of this, and they also see the success that guys are having. We're going to start a number of guys in the national championship game that came here as walk-ons and developed into starters, earned a scholarship. I look at a kid like Aaron Steidel, as a redshirt freshman, he's starting for us at defensive tackle and earning a scholarship, and he walked on here. And Bryce Mesner is going to start at guard and walked on here and earned a scholarship. So that part has helped us as far as there's a ton of success stories. The easy ones are the Joe Higgs and stuff. There's a ton of success stories of guys that have come here and said, I'm going to have a chip on my shoulder and I'm going to earn this scholarship. I look at a guy like Jedry Sear years ago. Jedry said, I'm going to come here and earn a scholarship. And those are the guys that are the heartbeat of your program.
Did it help, Chris, at all that you got your quarterback first? Because he almost turns into an extra recruiter for you out there.
Absolutely. And we have a number of those guys that kind of got to know each other and had their own group chats going back and forth and really developed a relationship with each other, really developed a bond with each other, congratulated each other. You see on social media after games and things in high school. And there's no doubt that you need leaders in every class, not just what your seniors and juniors are on your own team, but leaders in a recruiting class, leaders in the true freshman class we have now. And I think Trey and a number of guys kind of led that to say, hey, this is a tremendous class with a bunch of us that know each other. Let's continue to build that bond and build those relationships, because when we go to NDSU together come this summer, we're already going to know each other.
What's the plan with Ewing?
He'll go for a couple years and then come back, and when he comes back, he'll join our football team, and hopefully that's in a summer of, was that 2020? Because he's going on a mission, it's not like we're going to be able to go there. I mean, we talked about it at length, and we're learning this too, Jeff. I mean, as far as we don't have very many of these situations, but I know that in visiting with him, visiting with his father, and visiting with some other people, that there's plenty of opportunities for workouts. There's plenty of opportunities to continue to hone your craft of getting stronger and getting bigger and getting quicker. But it's an opportunity of a lifetime for him that, when he approached us and said this is what he was going to do, we're not taking away those dreams of those kids that have that. And that's, I think it's a really unique situation, and I'm happy for he and his family.
Just before, I mean, have you had a situation like that ever in your career?
No.
Isn't it all, or you had to look into it? Or?
Well, we absolutely looked into it and talked to some people, Randy and I did, that had dealt with some of these situations and just kind of how you go about it. And but the more you dug into it, the more we found out all those kids had success stories. And so why not let a young man do what he wants to do and then bring him back in a couple years. And so there were so many more success stories than there weren't. And so this was a natural, especially for a kid as dominant as he was in the state of North Dakota.
You guys signed 19 scholarship athletes today. What does the rest of this 2018 class look like as far as what's your process now for focusing on 3, 4, 5 other kids for the next signing period?
Yeah, we're going to sit down as a staff, probably either if we get an opportunity next week. If not, it'll be after the championship game. Kind of lay out where we're at and say, okay, what are our needs still? What do we still need to absolutely go after? We know we still want to get a linebacker for sure, and we're visiting with a few of those guys right now. But we need to get in front of some people, get into some homes and stuff. But there'll be some more guys that we sign, but obviously not very many when you have as many as we have here. So it's something we still are going to visit with. Coach Jacobs and I are going to talk about it, and we'll get a plan together.
As nerve-wracking as it would be in February, getting to the last 3 days to make sure you hung on to what you had?
Yeah, it was mainly because from Thanksgiving until now, we weren't out. And, all but 16 were out and about in FCS, and every FBS program's out because of the bowl system. And then all of a sudden it goes from 16 to 8 to 4 to 2 and so forth. And not being out where in February, hey, we were going to get to those homes at least a few times in the window we had after the championship game. And so it was, but in the same respect, I credit our coaching staff. There's so many of these guys that committed to us or signed with us today that have been to Fargo during the season, some multiple times, because they love the environment here. They love the game day environment. They love being around our campus and getting their parents here and stuff. I think that was a home run for us, and credit Coach Jacobs and the staff for making sure that every week we had a lot of prospects in for game day visits.
Manager of your staff, as a manager, if you're out working in July, when do you tell these guys, when do you get time off?
We don't. I'd like to find ways to get more time off. No, but I'm with you, Jeff. I mean, that's, some people take Christmas break off. We don't have Christmas break off this year. Wouldn't change it for anything in the world. We'll take a little time after February in the signing date. We'll take a little bit of spring break time off. Maybe I can talk to Mr. Larson to give us a week off in May or something. We have to find time. But that's the thing that I think we're all learning, and I'm looking forward to a number of meetings that we'll have in January at the AFCA convention to talk about, okay, what do we need to do about this? I wish they'd open up August is what I wish they'd do, Jeff, because then people could get away in July a little bit more, and most high schools don't start till August 9th, 10th, 11th. Then bring them all in that first week of August where some staff do get a chance to recharge their batteries. And I'm telling you, I'm family first guy, and our coaches are going to be with their families as often as they can. They know when it's time to work, and when it's not, they need to be with their families. And so that is a really tough juggling act.
Risk of burnout here?
No. We do it because we love this, and we do it because we love the kids. We love recruiting. We love when I see a Trey Dempsey come in from his true freshman year, and I was his coach because he was a safety and I was still coaching position, and see what that kid has done in 5 years and how he's grown up to be a man and how he's gotten his degree, and I challenged the heck out of that kid for 5 years. It's so rewarding, and I wouldn't change it for anything in the world.
Chris, with Ogbu, it's kind of I don't know if it's a project. He's only played football for a couple of years. The excitement or the challenge, I guess, when he gets on campus is what?
Well, cut him loose and let him roll, because you can watch him rush the passer, and that's a gift, and he has a gift to be able to rush the passer because he's got great length. He has unbelievable hips. He'll have to learn a little bit more about the game of football, but all of them are. There can be anybody that's going to come in here ready-made, but just his unbelievable athleticism and ability to run and ability to change direction and his length, and I told Barty when we recruited him, and actually even in September when we were talking to him, I said, Barty, you're going to have an unbelievable opportunity to learn from Greg Menard, which we didn't think would have happened until Greg got hurt. And he knows who Greg Menard is. Everybody knows who Greg is. And for a young guy like that to come in and say, I can learn from Greg Menard now, holy cow, I'm excited for Barty because I think the sky's the limit for him.
Specific or different quarterbacks, the last three guys, Brock, Carson, and Easton. Does Trey remind you of any of them? I mean, just to give the fans kind of a stylistic.
In between Easton and Carson, he's taller than Easton, not as tall as Carson. It'll be interesting to see where we can develop his body as far as how much weight and stuff he can put on him. He's a really good athlete in between those guys somewhere. He probably, I don't know, what's he weighing right now, Hank? Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that's going to be a 225, 230-pound guy here in the next year and a half once he gets with Kramer. And the good thing for him, no different than Barty, he's going to learn behind Easton Stick for a year. Wow, what an education for a young man. And I know that really was impactful for him and his family to say he's going to get to learn behind, I think, one of the best players that North Dakota State's ever seen in Easton Stick.
Can you elaborate on Jake Cava a little bit, what he brings to the table?
Yeah, I've noticed Jake since his freshman year because he obviously played with my son Devin, and I was always really impressed with him. Tough, hard-nosed, physical guy that we'll see where his body goes, And I remember talking to Jake just the other night of the challenge of with basketball and all the things he has going, how much bigger and stronger can you get between now and the end of the summer? Because he's a physical guy, he's a really good athlete. And we don't know if he's going to be a tight end. We don't know if he's going to be a linebacker and where his body's going to go. But I like his competitiveness. I've watched him play basketball because he played with Devin. I watched him play football, and he has a nose for the ball. I'm excited for Jake because I think he's got a bright future here.
Or his ball boy skills.
Jake? I don't know. Why do you ask? Oh, so was Colby, and I didn't know that. And my son Colby was a ball boy, and I didn't know that until after the game. So I think Jack Mon could have been a ball boy for us.
South Dakota, I know it fluctuates. Was that something that it happened this year?
It just happens, Yeah, we recruit the heck out of both those areas, and we only got one out of Florida and only one out of Missouri and stuff. It still comes down to Minnesota and North Dakota are going to be the two places that we want to own and win. And then after that, some of it was by position. Maybe we had a certain position we liked there, but we'd already gotten commitments there. So obviously we'll continue to recruit those. They're going to be, I'll be honest, they're going to be tougher to recruit with Scott down there. I mean, Scott's going to do a phenomenal job of getting some kids to walk on to Nebraska.